desert plants of Avalon in the north of Ireland. And in today's video, we'll be sharing our wonderful new addition with you and also showing you the repotting. Now this is our gorgeous new Haworthia Savanna. And this was gifted to us by our wonderful neighbour because we were house sitting for her while she was away on holiday, and she very kindly bought us this Haworthia, and she said, here you go guys, I'm sure you've got this already, this is a lovely aloe you're going to love. And I actually said to her, it's actually Haworthia Savanna, and I'm happy to say it is not one that we have got, so this is a gorgeous new addition to our Haworthia family. So very excited about this, to be gifted this very beautiful Haworthia. And those of you who know my channel know that we have a lot of Haworthia in our collection. We also have a lot of Gasteria, aloes and the like as well in our polytunnel. They do really well in there and grow very well for us. So this is a gorgeous new addition. I'm going to be doing this video is going to be sharing the repotting with you, because when you do get a new plant, it's always a good idea to remove it from the soil it's in, check over its root system so there's no signs of hidden root mealybugs or vine weevils and the like. And also with a lot of succulents and cacti that you see for sale, they're nearly always sold in peat based soil, which is horrible, and they might do okay in that short term, but long term they need a proper well draining soil. Peat in itself isn't necessarily harmful short term, but it has a habit of drying like cake, like very hard to the roots. It's very difficult to re-wet again. Also in my experience, peat is a root mealybug magnet, especially for Haworthias and Gasterias and aloes, because they're very fleshy roots. So I want to remove a lot of the soil. I don't necessarily have to remove all of it, and as long as it's all okay, I can repot it up in this lovely pot I've got for it. Now I've made the soil mix up here, and it's really important with Haworthias and Gasterias and aloes that you use a very well draining cactus and succulent soil. Now I make my own cactus and succulent soil up of 3 equal parts of a loam based soil, LOAM. In this case I'm using John Innes number 2, mixed with equal parts of grit and sharp horticultural sand. I use sort of the grit that's sort of quite small, and also the sharp sand that it's horticultural sand, not beach sand, and 3 equal parts. And if you want to know how I make my own cactus and succulent soil, I'll link a video up above on how to make cactus and succulent soil, and I'll also put the video link down below. The most important thing, as I say, everyone has their own preferences when it comes to soil, but with succulent plants, particularly with Haworthias, you do need to make sure that it's very well draining, so that means that the soil dries out quickly in between waterings. Now, first of all, I'm going to get it out of its pot, and it's come out straight away, which is good. And as I guessed, it's mostly, in fact, it looks like it's just all peat and a bit of perlite in that. So, you know, the soil is dry. So what I'm going to do is remove as much as I can of the soil. It's got lovely pups as well around it, so probably keep them all intact. And I just want to gently loosen up the soil, because if I was to just put this straight into the new soil, as you can see, it's all, a lot of the peat all on this, and a lot of all these plants you get in the nurseries or in the shops nearly always potted in peat, and this looks like it's just pure peat and perlite, which is, as I say, not good long term for the roots. And I'm often being asked, if the nurseries sell them in peat and they grow them well in peat, why don't I pot them up in peat? It's just that I personally don't like to use peat. It's not good for succulent roots, and as I mentioned, it is a root mealybug magnet. Root mealybugs will go on plants regardless of what soil you use, but I do know that peat really attracts them. So that's why I don't like to use it. And it's, you know, peat might dry out quite fast, but it's also hard to re-wet again, so it's not ideal. So gently loosen up all of them roots, and I'll try to remove as much of the soil as I can. There's a little bit of peat left on, it's not going to really matter. A small amount of peat won't hurt, but I'm going to try and remove as much as I can without destroying any of the roots, as little as possible. Now, as you can see, a lot of these are all dead roots here, all dried up roots that I've removed anyway, so they need to come off. This is sort of a fresh root there, and also this one looks good. So what I'm going to do is, once I've potted it up, I'm also going to keep it completely dry for at least probably a couple of weeks. And a little pup that can come away if they fall off. And this here is obviously, sometimes nurseries, when they use these like a little plug, when they sort of do seedlings, they put that into the small pots, and then when they pop them up into larger pots, they keep this on. This in itself isn't necessarily harmful. The roots will come through this, but I'm going to try and remove that, obviously. Any dead leaves as well at the bottom. As I say, it's all just perlite and peat. Now I'm going to cut off any dried up roots. That's sort of okay up to there, because these will not recover if they're all dried up. So, also these as well. I know it looks like I've removed a lot of the roots, but they were all sort of dried up and rotten anyway. So aloes, gasterias and haworthias are very good at regrowing their roots. In fact, when I repot a lot of my haworthias, I always prune off the roots anyway, because you always get so many dead roots, and this is perfectly okay to do. I just pop them up into dry soil, leave them dry for a few weeks, and they will send out new roots. So this one is fresh, a fresh healthy root, and this one is also a good one as well. So, and this is pretty good, so it will regrow from here and also send out new roots. And I've removed a couple of the pups that fell off. And I'm going to pop this up then into the its new pot. A little stone at the bottom to fill in the hole. I normally have some mesh, but I'm out of that at the moment. So I shall fill up with soil as well. It's a very, very, very gritty mix. So I'm glad I made it very gritty, because, as I say, this Haworthia has very little roots. So there you go. And then I'm going to gently place this on the top, like so. And then what I'm going to do now is make sure I put the soil all around the edges while keeping it lifted. That it's all around, so to make sure it's all going around the pot. These roots done. To make sure that you get the soil right underneath as well. So it's all completely all covered, and all the roots are covered. There you go, that's Haworthia all beautifully potted up. And as I say, I'm going to keep this totally dry, because I've had to do quite a lot of removing the roots and I've pruned quite a lot off. I'm going to leave this dry for at least 2 weeks, possibly 3 weeks, and put it in a bit of a shady spot in the polytunnel with the other Haworthias, because Haworthias, they're like a bright location, but they don't like direct sun like a lot of cactus and succulents do. So this will definitely do well in a bit of a shadier spot in the polytunnel. I'll show you where I put it. Now I've just got left the 2 little pups that fell off, so I'm going to be potting these up into a little pot too. Woohoo, that's it all done. I've wrote the little labels out as well. Haworthia Savanna. So that's got the label on it, and the 2 little cuties, the little pups, also put into the same pot. And these little pups, I'll probably water these after about a week, because they won't go as long without water than the mother plant. The mother plant will be fine, as you can see, and a reason why I want to leave it at least 2 to 3 weeks before watering is just to, if I was to water it now while I've done a major pruning on all the roots, then it could rot. So I always prefer to do that anyway when I repot cacti and succulents. So now I'm going to put them away in the polytunnel and show you what they look like when they're away. Woohoo! That's the Haworthia put away there, and the little baby one next to it as well. And this is a perfect spot for it. We've got all of our other Haworthias and Gasterias and a selection of aloes and other succulents here as well. And they're a little bit more in a little bit more shady spot because they're underneath the top bench here, these succulents. And our polytunnel's a little bit green covered as well, so it doesn't allow too much heat on, as the Haworthias prefer a bit more shade than typical types of cacti succulents do. So it's got plenty of light here, a bit of sun as well, but not too much. And looks lovely, doesn't it? Wonderful new addition to our plant family. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. For lots more tips and tricks on how you can care for and grow cacti and succulents, then please do subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you can be notified when I upload new videos. You can also follow me on my website, desertplantsofAvalon.com, and do check it regularly for regular articles and tips and tricks on how you can care for and grow cacti and succulents. I want to wish you all an amazing plant-powered day!